Fatality.
And welcome to the Free Your Geek podcast. I am your host, Jay Free. On the far end of the table, my co-host, The Don.
How's it going?
What's up, man? What's up, man? And quick shout out to KB. He's across the pond.
He's across the
He's
pond,
across
mate.
the pond. And that was the worst accent ever. And he's not even in
There
England.
goes your entire audience.
Yeah, bye guys.
Yeah.
He's actually in Ireland working right now. So KB, keep on keeping on. We'll see you next week. But in between the Don and I have two very special guests that are, I don't want to say long-term friends of mine, but I've known you guys for a while. So
You're a long-term
yeah,
friend.
so just go ahead and introduce
Well,
yourselves to
you
the
want me to
audience.
Yeah, start off.
All right, so I'm Jake.
And with me is always my co-host Ian Mello.
Yeah,
'cause
that's
we
what
do
I
that on our
say.
show every
You stole
time,
my
yeah.
line. Yeah, but we're quality content. We're two idiots in college who
Yeah,
also do
basically.
movie news as of about half a year ago.
Yeah.
We've started our own podcast, run our own radio show around the same time as that. Very fun stuff. And yeah, we're here to free our geeks.
Yeah, so it's basically like it's the next generation of geek. If we were Star Trek, we'd be the original. We'd be Free Your Geek, and they're Free Your Geek, the
Patrick
next
Stewart.
generation.
Wait, I wanted to be Patrick
No,
Stewart.
screw you. I'm Patrick Stewart.
I'll shave off all of my
No,
hair
I-
right now.
Let's go.
Oh, man.
It's fine.
So-
Same haircut. It's fine.
So basically, you guys have your own. You have a plethora of different shows going on right now, right?
That
Right
we
now.
do. Yes.
So let's just before we get into your background, just give our audience, and we'll tackle this again at the end of the show. But what do you guys have going on right now? Where can people listen to you?
Well, that's at the end of a show. Do where people find us?
Yeah.
Yeah. We on Facebook.com/JUST quality content because quality content was taken. Jerk. And it's that way when I say just quality content, it confuses people because why would not confuse people? But we have many shows. Our main show is quality content where we talk movies and TV and all the kinds of content with the highest quality. And one of our side shows, our big side show right now is it's called Which Hero, where
Yep.
we determine from the movies, not the comics, which superhero would be the best fit for the role that week. And this week, since we watched John Wick 1 and 2, is which superhero would take the most John Wicks to kill them?
Yeah. What was the last one? Was the last one Rick Harrison?
Which superhero would be the best Rick Harrison? Was the question.
From the hit
you have to
TV
run
show
the pawn
Pawn
shop. You gotta
Shop.
do everything you can to know what is going to come through that door.
That's
talk
see.
correctly.
Your segues
water.
and your transitions, you
Woo!
go from talking superheroes to Pawn Stars in like 3.2
Well, it's all
seconds.
superhero, but each theme that week is something else, and we cross it over, so that doesn't make any sense.
So did you guys already did Rick Harrison?
We did. It
Yes,
was very fun.
fun.
Okay,
Stuff.
and who did you determine?
Either Batman or Professor X could determine what could come through that door the best and run the pawn shop correctly, but
We determined Professor X would actually be the best one.
because he can physically control everyone around him. to
Yep.
do that,
So would Professor X in that case, like if somebody's coming to sell something or wants the pawn
he
shop
could
to
know
buy
their
it,
price. Ian pointed that
and
out.
then undercut them,
Yes,
Yep,
he'd be like, this
exactly.
is the minimum price you
and then
want.
convince them that's what they actually wanted, and it was a
Exactly.
good deal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if
He'd
he
be
doesn't know
great.
anything, just freeze everyone in place, go wheel over to a computer, look it up, and then wheel back. And be
He
like,
wouldn't even have to
"Actually,
do that. He'd just have to reach out his mind and pick somebody, like find an
Pick
expert
somebody who
that
knows,
way.
yeah.
One of
Yeah.
the criteria for being Rick Harrison was have many buddies who are experts on things, and Batman is Bruce Wayne. He's got a lot of connections. But
True.
Professor X has every connection in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Just
So
be
it was a
like,
really interesting thing.
yeah, exactly. It's perfect. So. the
So
only
so
thing
that's
that, like,
that's some of
standing
the.
up is a problem for him, but everything else is fine.
It depends when you read what iteration of Xavier, because he's gotten the use of his legs back and forth. But you're talking just movie version.
Yes,
Just
we are
movies.
talking just movies.
That way everyone can relate and stuff like that, and there's only 7 or 8 as opposed to thousands.
of
So
comic
and
books.
you went with Professor Xavier, you went with Stewart, or you went with McAvoy.
Stewart is more iconic, I'd say,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
they both do all right as long as it's not like idiot walking around Professor X in Days of Future Past. It
Yeah.
should be pretty good.
Where he's just like, I don't really have
And
my
we do,
powers because I'm numbing
whatever's
them.
a shared universe. We're doing Ben Affleck Batman instead of the Keaton one, who's fine, but I feel like the costume can't really turn his head to see the price.
Right.
Very
Well,
good.
also when the movie was made, obviously
Exactly.
like the technology and even just like
Wasn't-
the materials,
was almost there.
the props. And
Fun stuff. I love that movie.
so okay, so you have that's a lot of content that you're putting out, and it's quality content. See
Thank
what I
you
did there?
so much.
See what I did
Warming
there?
my heart right there.
So
We have,
so
we have more shows.
yeah, I was gonna say. So talk about some more of your shows.
Well, we do quality content. We do Which Hero, and we do a show called Brian Blenolds, where my co-host Ian and I review every single Ryan Reynolds movie ever made, and we do like a 10-minute segment on it. And right now we have done like 20.
Yeah, we've done a
20, 15, 20 Ryan Reynolds movies.
Yeah.
We haven't done Deadpool yet. We're saving Deadpool for the end.
Because
But,
it's one of the best ones.
it's stellar. We got to do the
Yeah.
crap ones first. We're doing what's next? Blade Trinity?
Oh my goodness.
We did R.I.P.D. and then we've taken a
Oh.
break after R.I.P.D. because R.I.P.D. was just so bad.
Oh, we did like it extended to like 20 minutes of just. Can I say bitching about
Yeah,
R.I.P.D.
that's
just
as
complaining.
long as we keep it like PG-13.
Yeah.
Yeah, R.I.P.D.
No
was-
S bombs and no F bombs, and we're cool.
I want you to get
R.I.P.D.
one
was
F bomb
just
with
a
the
big-
PG-13.
pile of garbage. And I
Pile
was
of
like, I don't want that.
And Jeff Bridges was a cartoon character. So, enough
His
of that.
character. Jeff Bridges is not a bad actor. That being said, in that movie, he was terrible.
It was very, very
It
bad.
was very disappointing.
How do you guys feel about Just Friends?
We watched it.
It was
the
pretty funny.
opening with the fat suit is comedy's gold. The
golden.
first like
When
10
he's
minutes,
singing into the hair- oh my
solid, and then
God.
after that point, it's like an average movie.
Yeah, that I don't know. How old are you guys?
20.
20.
All right,
both
so
20? I'm
you guys
20.
missed the All for One. That song was big. That I Swear song was big.
Well, yeah, we do our things on Spreaker, and we put like an image up every week, and it's Ryan Reynolds' character that week, but flipped upside down. So we had the fat suit in the mirror, him smiling, and that was upside down, so it just looked like this. And it was like, just friends. Like, what?
Oh man.
And we get the Brian Bones name from
An
Hugh
interview.
Jackman interviewed.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh
Ryan
I can't talk
Jackman.
either. It's fine.
And he was like, so this one's from Brian Reynolds. And it was just like, it's just
Exactly. This one's from Blake
Ridiculous.
Lively. He says, but yeah,
It's like, oh, wow.
it's good stuff.
So okay, so Spreaker is like the big place where you guys can
Yes.
get all of your
We're
shows.
trying to put our stuff on YouTube, but we got to cut it down to like videos. and
Right.
stuff like
So we'll add the description later on in the video. We're
Yeah.
live right now. We can't do it, but
Thank
toward the
you.
end, we'll put all your links in and stuff like
Appreciate
that.
it.
And then I'll get that because we'll put it on our podcast version as well.
Glorious.
awesome.
So that's really cool. So you guys seem like you have you geek out about a lot from what it sounds like.
What? No.
Just a tiny bit off air. We were talking a little bit about Friends.
I do like Friends.
Big Friends
A lot.
fan.
Friends.
I prefer How I Met Your Mother. That's just me.
How I Met Your Mother. Both shows that I'm familiar with as well.
You like and know what those things are.
Yes, yes. It's
Ted
it's-
Mosby.
Yes, and it's Legend.
Wait for it.
Dairy.
Dairy.
There you go.
You didn't say wait for it in the first few episodes. You
No.
said legendary, and then later on.
Yeah.
But that's the progression of a character.
Exactly.
And that's one of the big things that when we talk about our discussions here on the show, I really like
What
things.
a transition. That's the topic. He's so smart.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's a progressions of a
realized
character. No, go for it. What-
I didn't even. That's our topic this week, isn't it? Right.
yeah, we're talking about our favorite episodes of the DC animated universe. So we're going to be talking about that toward the end of the final countdown. But what I'm trying to basically get between Don and I, like I said, being the original, and I'll even let you be Spock because Spock is the coolest.
I think I'd be Scotty.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously you're Kirk. KB would actually be Spock,
Is it because he's a literal human calculator?
and I think I get moved over to Scotty. I can't do it, Captain. I don't have the power.
Now you kind of actually remind me of the Simon Pegg Scotty in the new trilogy.
There you
I
go.
would take
Yeah,
that.
I was thinking
Throw
the
a
same
beard
thing.
on it, you're good.
That's it.
There you go. And Simon Pegg is amazing.
Yeah.
Very talented.
But going back to the next generation, if you will, just to get your background, guys, and we'll if you want to take each one of you, like what are some of the areas that you geek out on? How early in your life you say you're 20, so you're still very young.
I started last time. Why don't you take this away?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, definitely.
So I was like,
My favorite superhero is Green Lantern, and I've been loving Green Lantern since the Justice League cartoons that we were talking about off air, actually.
Nice.
And Jon Stewart's Green Lantern's my favorite, and then Hal Jordan. Kyle Rayner's pretty great. Guy Gardner sucks because he has his dumb bowl cut. I mean, Alan Scott, the original OG, like really, really nice. His costume was bad because he had the dumb cape.
You
But
got a cape.
anything Green Lantern, I actually bought a black lantern, a porcelain black lantern with a ring that lights it
I
up.
watched him do it.
Woo.
It was on sale, so I bought it.
They had a green one, and he bought the black one instead.
The black one's really cool. It was
Yeah, but
awesome looking.
It's the name of the character. You're wearing them.
That's true. I really like Nintendo games. Donkey Kong, good stuff right
Pardon
there.
me.
A lot of things like that. Mortal Kombat. I played a lot of the new Mortal Kombat, and then they abandoned the PC port, so I stopped playing because I got really mad. I don't want to play more because they unabandoned it because they were like, "Oh, we weren't making enough money." Couldn't
Right.
have done that at the beginning when I was really on board with it and like happy about it. And a lot of DC stuff, a lot of Marvel stuff. Obviously, I'm bigger into movies and shows than comics, but I bought the entire Blackest Night collection. Been reading through
Nice.
it a little bit, and I really like to read books. It's one of the things I love to do. I love reading.
Geeking out on reading, that's cool.
It's fun.
What are you reading now?
Right now, textbooks for college because I have no time for pleasure reading.
Okay, so for pleasure, that time rolls around, the semester's ending, you got a little free time.
The last book that I read was Brissinger in the Aragon series because I never got to read the last one.
I know nothing about that, so give me an elevator pitch. Give me like a 30
Sell 'em.
second. Yeah,
There was a really
sell me
bad
on it.
movie made of it.
Aragon was a terrible movie. It's a weird like fantasy world, and this person, Aragon, grows up with his basically adopted parent, his adopted grandfather, kind of man, and he has the power to control dragons, and he finds a dragon egg, and dragon eggs don't open for anybody. They open to people they have bonds with, and he ends up getting a dragon, which is like the coolest thing. But there are very few dragons left in the world, and people are trying to take over, and if the more dragon hearts you have, you're more powerful. And there's a dark guy. It's just a really long, convoluted plot over the last.
But it's amazing, is what you're telling
It
me.
is really,
Yes.
really good. I really
Gonna
like
end
it.
with yes.
Because it's just really neat. He finds out like he has an adopted brother, and he gets the sword, and his brother ends up stealing the sword and trying to take his dragon. Doesn't work. Things like that. It's really long and convoluted, and it's not confusing if you read them, but it's over the course of 2,500 pages of books in 3 books. So it's like a lot to take in.
So it's a chore to read.
Not a chore. It's
If you
really
enjoy
interesting.
it.
Oh yeah,
If
absolutely.
you enjoy it, you'll fly through it.
I fly through books anyway. I learned how to speed read from a young age. The last time I clocked myself was 250 pages per hour.
Oh,
That's crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
so we could throw this huge novel. You could probably get through like the Game of Thrones series like nothing.
I have read them previously, not recently enough to know anything
I like them.
smart at all, but I have read through them. I used to read a lot more than I do now. Sadly, I have very little time with
Oh,
all
it's the life of a
friends.
college student.
College, work, more shows, radio shows, TV shows, not TV shows, podcasts and things like that. It just takes a good chunk of time.
How you feel about the Legend of the Seeker series? Did you get
What's
into that? Legend of the Seeker?
I watched the first season.
I think that's all they really got to was one
yeah, they
season
were
on
just
TV.
like, nope, it's not working.
No, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like I thought that show could have been something.
I like the idea that she is like the most powerful one, but she really shouldn't use her confessing powers.
Yeah.
because it's like too like immoral. I love that concept.
It's
That is a good concept.
you would actually probably like that too.
Yeah, I unfortunately I don't have any time to do.
I know
anything
you don't.
fun.
Likewise, my friend.
Yes, high
We
fives.
all agree with that
all
one.
busy.
So let's move on to you. Give us some background in you. When did your geekdom start? What do you geek out about now? What are you
Well-
doing currently?
Yeah, they caught the high five.
Yeah, we're watching ourselves right now. We're looking.
There's
we're-
like a what, 20-second delay?
yeah. There's like a 15, 20 second delay.
I don't
want to
look at it. I look stupid when I
All
bend
right,
down.
so I'll turn it this way.
Thank you. No, I'm illiterate. I can't read, so I don't really read books in general. It's real of a chore to me. It's kind of like tedious to kind of shovel through things. I'm the opposite of you. We both geek out about similar things. Like superheroes are our main thing. So most of our shows revolve around superheroes or Ryan Reynolds movies for some reason. But yeah, it's fun stuff like that. And I watch a lot of TV, watch a lot of movies. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
kind of what we do. It's what I'd like to do for money.
Yeah,
So I can
eventually.
stop
Hopefully.
giving out fast food. But no, it's all kinds of fun. We're big into the animated DC movies. There's actually a universe there now. It used to be like separate, but now the Marvel movies have encouraged DC's animated department to interconnect everything, but not in a stupid, rushed Amazing Spider-Man 2 way. So I really like that concept and idea of that, and they're actually pumping out really quality material right there.
As opposed to the DC regular movies, which
Yeah.
are just.
They're up and down for me. I like Batman vs Superman. Didn't like.
I
Man of
also
Steel.
like Batman vs
I didn't like
Superman.
Man of Steel. I didn't like Suicide Squad. So
Okay,
they're just going up and down.
that's something we can put a
Oh,
pin
right,
in.
I'm
Maybe talk about.
Wow.
No. I definitely want to talk about Batman versus Superman because
Oh, good.
yeah.
Oh, boy.
you guys because no, I was not a
It-
fan of it.
It has
Oh,
problems.
yeah. No,
and I
it definitely
addressed
has
them.
problems.
Yep, Superman as a character, he almost doesn't belong in the movie. It's just-
And that's what we were talking about
He's in the
the
title, it's
chat a
weird.
little bit of. I want to talk about character, like comparing characters and character progression because of Superman. Actually, it was my main reason of why
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about it.
See, I'm the master of segues right here.
I
Don.
know
I don't
you
know if you
are.
know that.
Yeah.
So
No,
we
I
have-
do.
The first segue he did was really impressive because
It
you were
was.
just talking about Friends. He related Friends, the TV show from the 90s, to our topic this week, which has nothing to do with Friends, the TV show from the 90s.
He's good.
That's
It's
I'm
called
not that
called
confident. My first
experience,
show.
folks. No, so yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the superheroes and just from your perspective, which superheroes do you think are kind of from either from page to screen or big screen or small screen? Which ones do you think are? And I know you and I talk about we're both Arrow and Flash and Legends fans, and I know you guys.
I
we
love
were-
the Flash.
We were talking offline before we went live. You guys did your own show on the whole Invasion arc.
Yep, we did a
and
mini
stuff
show on
like
it.
that. So
Yes, that existed.
different feelings from everybody here, but basically the point I'm trying to get to here is which heroes from concept to visual do you think are the closest, and which ones do you think are kind of like out there?
Ian, why don't you start since I know you're more passionate about this
Henry
than I am.
Cavill Superman is terrible.
Oh, thank you.
I hate him so much. He complains. The thing about Superman is what they really captured in Christopher Reeve and even the Brandon Routh movie, which is the best Superman movie in my opinion, is that Superman, no matter what,
We don't agree on everything.
really, really like cares about people and just wants Earth to be safe. Henry Cavill Superman's like, oh, they don't like me. Should I even be Superman? It's like, oh, he's sad the whole movie. He's like, I understand what they tried to do. They tried to make it darker and grittier because it worked for the previous Batman movies. That being said, Superman's not a dark, gritty character, and they wrote him to be a dark, gritty character, and that's a big problem for me. It really just messed
He's all
up.
broody. He's all brooding.
He
and
broods, and I'm just like, why is he crying? Why does
he's,
he care? He
he's
just cares
supposed to be
about
a
people.
symbol of hope.
He
Yes,
talks to his
and-
ghost dad in the mountains, which doesn't make sense because he's dead anyway. But there's a ghost.
I don't know.
It's not Krypton magic. It's just in his head. He's
Right.
just talking to no one.
Right.
And I thought it was
in
a
a movie that was already
travesty.
2.5 hours long. It could stand to be cut a lot. So
Okay. Any other characters you know that you think kind of flow well from page to
positives.
Positives.
Oh no,
Let's-
positives.
Most-
God, a lot of things are positives. Marvel's doing a really good job with their positives, especially with the Civil War storyline. They couldn't adapt it straight from the comics, but what they did with it, I felt was really, really nice. Honestly, they had the conflict of justice versus honor, and they had everything they needed to be there, and they had Captain America and Iron Man fight in the clash between the Avengers, a tearing apart of the team, and it was just beautifully done. And they tried to mend it together back at the end. We'll see more about that probably in Infinity War, even in Thor Ragnarok, maybe towards the end of the little tease.
Actually, yeah.
But-
If you saw the Infinity War behind the scenes clip that came out like a few days ago, they said like we purposely put Civil War right before Infinity War because you got to break up the team before they come back together to stop the big threat. So
Yep.
the whole thing is a movie. Like,
Exactly.
every single MCU film, not all of them. Ant-Man isn't really one of them, but like generally they all flow together really nicely.
Yeah.
And I gotta love that. Anyway, yeah.
We're just getting some comments that we need to talk a little bit closer to the mics.
So when you look this way, talk like this. When you
yeah,
look
because
this
when,
way,
when you turn your whole head, it
Henry Cavill Superman.
there you go. Perfect. So Don, I'll throw this is kind of you didn't know about this, so it's kind of putting
That's
you on
fine.
the spot. But who characters you think are kind of hitting the mark from the origin to the big screen or the television screen?
I was a big fan of obviously X-Men animated series in the 90s. I liked how they transitioned like the Cyclops from that into X1, X2,
Yep.
and
Good.
actually wasn't in Last Stand, so it was just in X1 and X2. But I think that they really did a good job picking the character on it. I think that he portrayed the same type of character that he did from the animated series
Boy
over
Scout.
the
Yeah.
Boy Scout, the not jealous of Wolverine, but really like overprotective of Jean, especially when it came to Wolverine. The scene when Jean dies and he just has a breakdown and him and Logan are just like hugging
Yep.
it out. That was a really powerful
Oh,
scene.
yeah, there are a lot of great scenes in X-Men 3. People like overlook them because they hate the movie so much, but there's a lot of like really standout scenes.
I was happy that they threw the Phoenix in it. I can't knock any one movie. Like a lot of movies that people come out and say like they completely despise, I'll find like at least one thing in it and I will focus like, oh wow, like Batman versus Superman, like a lot of people have different
warehouse
views.
scene.
Like I specifically like I understand like that Bruce Wayne was sleeping and he had like this vision, but that whole other dimension, like obviously you guys know like DCU does that. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fact that came through on the big screen, I was impressed by it. I liked seeing the other version of Batman fighting it out, using guns, Superman being the villain in that timeline, Flash coming through. Like, I enjoyed all of that. I don't really appreciate how Doomsday was, like, brought in. Like, you guys have discussed that before, so I don't want to touch on it too much. But
I like how he got brought in. I don't like how they revealed it in the trailer because it ruined it for me.
If I had been surprised, even still, it's a bit early, like way too early for Doomsday in any movie right now. You need like 3 or 4 more.
It would be like a Justice League villain to me.
Yes.
Yeah,
And now he's
and-
dead. So
Right.
there goes your Doomsday.
So, but yeah,
Justice
and
League.
that's the big. Not that I want to go on too much of a tangent, but that's the thing that kind of annoys me is that every villain, for the most part, ends up dying in the movies.
Yeah.
You know, other than
That's
Loki,
true.
who dies but he's still alive. You know,
That's a trope of Marvel. They really
right.
just don't
But
play.
every major villain in any Marvel movie, for the most part, Thor,
Ronan.
Red Skull, Ronan from Guardians.
Well, technically, we can't
We don't
really say
say the
Red
Red
Skull
Skull.
died.
Right.
Yeah.
But Agent Smith is not coming back. So
No.
No, and yeah,
Which is-
Hugo Weaving doesn't want to do any of it.
right.
I know that's a letdown though. He played an amazing Red Skull.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, if they want it, the only way they bring him back is for like a cameo, maybe in Infinity War when he gets the space gem. Oh no, there's Red Skull. In his
Just like
legs, that.
throws them up there.
But,
Yeah.
like, it'd just be
Yeah.
a 5-10 minute scene at max, and you could put anyone in that Red Skull makeup because it's a skull over their
Right.
face. So it's
want-
not a problem for Marvel.
I want to
but they
talk
don't
to
think they do.
Don real quick because you guys, and it just popped in my head when we were talking about brooding Superman. You mentioned Brandon Routh was your favorite Superman.
Yeah, weirdo.
So Brandon Routh, who played Superman in Superman Returns, plays the Atom in the Arrow universe.
Yeah.
And they had the Invasion storyline, which
Yeah.
took Supergirl and Green Arrow and Flash. And toward the end of it, Supergirl is talking and she walks away, and Brandon Routh, who's now playing the Atom, says, she kind of looks like my cousin.
That was
And
the funniest
I
line.
thought it was such a great
That was so good.
That is funny.
a nod to that movie. I thought it was funny. That's when you were talking about that being him brooding, and then Brandon Routh,
that
because we
whole
talked about
Arrowverse
that.
is very meta, so I gotta love that aspect.
Yeah.
So yeah, like with the Superman Returns, I didn't care for so much, but I loved my God, what's his name? Kevin Spacey. Perfect Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah. Oh my
Like,
god.
Arguably better than Hackman. And I love Hackman to death.
Yeah.
You know
But
what
I mean, like, I felt like he fit the Lex Luthor profile like to a T.
Yeah.
And I like that whole aspect of it. And actually, realistically, when I watched Superman Returns when it first came out, I'm like, oh wow, cool, Superman's back. Like, and I kind of enjoyed it. But then as other movies started, like the superhero industry for movies has just boomed lately. Like all of us get hooked on it. Like our culture is so big right now that they know they're making money off this stuff.
Exactly.
Like when
People
you were
like us
getting,
don't have to hide and recluse.
Yeah.
anymore. We can just
Exactly.
Talk freely about how great superheroes are. So
yeah,
works well.
it's true. So so that's what I was saying. Like when I watch that movie now, I'm like, oh, same thing with like if I watch like Batman with Keaton now, and I always used to say like, oh, Jack Nicholson was the most amazing Joker.
Oh, Jack Nicholson.
He doesn't
Hey.
like Jack Nicholson.
No.
I love him. but
I watch it again now, and I'm like, yeah, no,
Right?
This is
Exactly.
not
Y'all
anything
are
that
crazy.
I've been accustomed to.
You see Heath Ledger's Joker, and you're like, oh yeah, that's great. And you see Jack Nicholson, you're like, I hate him.
What?
He's
crazy.
no.
They're
Well,
crazy.
I got to say this. What do you guys think? Just let's see if we can get common ground here. Jared Leto Joker.
Ian, why don't you start?
I want to see more because he was cut from a lot of stuff, and I feel like maybe if we saw all of it, would have been good. It would have made more sense. That being said, Suicide Squad's not a good movie at all, and there's some scenes that are redeemable. I feel like the first part of the movie where they had like the nice infographic, like the Harley Quinn, like boom, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
like-
boom, with the pretty pictures and the graphics. It was great, and the Flash scene was really good. And then the rest of the movie had no plot or character or
It
CGI
was
at
just like,
all.
let's blow a bunch of stuff up.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Will Smith shined.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah,
I
he was
like Will
great.
Smith.
Loved Will
I li-
Smith.
I
Will
like
Smith in it
Margot
up.
Robbie.
Margot Robbie was very good. I
I'm very
appreciated
interested
it.
to see what the Sirens movie they're going to do.
You know
was
who
it?
I really liked? Captain Boomerang. I thought it was very watchable.
So there's a rumor
Jai
that
Courtney.
he's going to be coming back for the Flash movie.
No.
because the villains are going to be the Rogues.
Well,
in
it's a
the- in the
page one
Fla-
rewrite.
Right. So we'll see. We'll see.
It's all up in
But
the air.
what were you going to say,
No,
Don?
I was gonna say even the guy from who, like the leader of their hit squad. He was on a show that I watched
Rick
on
Flag?
Is that what
Yeah,
it was? I
He's
watched
fine.
him on a show on Netflix called The Killing.
Yeah.
So like as soon as I saw that he was like I built him up.
You
and I
create
think,
that connection,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it was good. Like
You know, it's supposed to be Tom Hardy in that role, but he dropped out.
Ooh.
So Bane would have been.
Yeah, Rick Flag.
that would have been
cool.
a really good tie-in.
And Tom Hardy, Tom Hardy's a great actor, so that would have been.
And also,
really
Tom
good.
Hardy said that I'd totally come back as Bane in this DC world. And it's like, well, I understand how things work.
Yeah, they-
it's just-
I want Bane to be like the big jacked luchador guy, not like
With
as
the-
tall as
the
that
mask.
ceiling is
Yeah.
right there. Not
You guys
I'm
can't
a
see that
ripped
at
dude.
home, but-
No, yeah. Let's turn the camera. Yeah, like 8 feet tall, basically.
Yeah.
Jacked up, kind of like I wanted Venom to be in Spider-Man 3.
But
where,
he
like,
was
Topher
really
Grace.
You got-
skinny,
you got
terrible
Eric
Topher Grace.
Foreman?
No,
Yeah.
but we're talking about adaptations of characters.
Eric
that
Foreman
was
is very funny,
Yeah.
and I love him. But at the same time, get out of Spider-Man 3. And if you're gonna be in it, don't be Eddie Brock, who should be ripped anyway.
Yeah.
And then become a bigger, more ripped symbiote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he should be like an alpha too, and he just wasn't. He was like very like snivy. I don't even know if
Yeah.
snivy's a word. But
No,
We're gonna make it up.
snivelly.
We're gonna,
It
we're gonna
is.
Sniveling.
No, Snivy's a word now. We just
We're good.
It's on the
We're
show. The
Sniveling.
recording can't go back now.
That's
Snivy.
but
Live.
Hashtag Snivy on my phone.
Well, very cool, very cool. We'll give it a plug again. Your show's a plug at the end of the show, but we're about halfway through the show right now.
awesome.
So,
Yes.
I'm taking my format and I'm going to just toss it now because it's time to go into our favorite segment of the show, and we call it the Final Countdown.
It's the final countdown.
content right here.
Quality.
No. I didn't shut the microphones off.
That's fine.
This is quality content, and this is the final countdown. So the topic today, the four of us are going to each choose our top 3 DCU animated episodes. So usually we start with the guests and we go, Don, do you want to start or do you want to take KB's spot and do the middleman?
I'll do middle.
You'll do middleman? Okay, so we'll start with our guests. So we'll start with a Green Lantern. We'll start with 3.
Now, is it 3, 3, 3, 3?
All the way through 3,
That's exactly
then
how
2,
I wanted to do
then
it.
1. Yep. So
I'll go last. I want time to think. I have
well,
mine. I don't know what
you're
order.
gonna go after. So
Glorious.
it's gonna be Ian, then you, then Don, then me.
Awesome.
Well, that's the order we're gonna go in. So start it off with your number 3
I
pick.
actually had my number 3. I pulled it up on the phone to make sure it was the right movie because the animated Batman movies that me and him have watched fairly recently are all really good. But I really liked Batman versus Robin just because the Damian Wayne, Bruce Wayne interactions in that movie and the struggle between having him be responsible and him being Ra's al Ghul's puppet kind of is really interesting, and him grooming him to be Robin, him grooming him up to be his sidekick. That aspect of the movie was just incredible. The animation's almost flawless. The plot of the movie is great, and I really like the interaction between him and his son. But he doesn't treat him like a son until like later on, and it's really, really interesting.
So and Damian Wayne, a lot of people don't like him as Robin. A lot of people think he's pompous, and there's a cool dynamic shift because when Bruce Wayne disappeared in the comics, he was killed by Darkseid. Robin, or Nightwing, Dick Grayson, took over the mantle of Batman, and now Batman was more fun-loving, and then the Robin, Damian Wayne, was more of the gritty, jerk of the two, which was a cool dynamic shift in the way they. But yes, that movie is great, and that's a great pick for your number 3.
I love that.
Excellent, it's a great pick. So let's move on to your number 3.
All right, number 3. I gotta think because I have my top 2. I gotta start from the bottom.
I'm so proud of you.
I wish I could call him a word that I can't say right now.
Off air, you can.
I can say it on our show too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, my number 3. It's gotta be. You know what? I'm keeping the nostalgia goggles on for number 3, not my number 2 or 1, because it is a bit dated. But the 3-episode, hour-long pilot for Justice League, the animated series, the first one, not unlimited, is flawless. And I love it now, looking back on it, because I recognize a lot of things that I liked as a kid are garbage now. Like Batman and Robin, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, this is so fun. Batman's in his ice skating. It makes sense.
The movie where he takes out the Batman Visa
Credit
card.
Oh,
Made sense.
Batman
When I was
credit
5, made sense.
And they have the nipples on.
Yes.
Yep.
The best costume.
But yeah, no, so I obviously am aware of nostalgia, but when I look back at the Justice League, the first 3-episode thing, it did better with all of their characters individually than Amazing Spider-Man's failed rebooted universe and also DC's current failing, I shouldn't say yet, universe. They're doing better establishing all those minor characters with Hawkgirl and Jon Stewart in The Flash. They just come in, but they're not just thrown at you. Like, they're established who they are and what they do, and they all work together, and it's this huge network. And you can see the Batman and Superman interacting like every other scene. You can see their dialogue, get their sense of their characters, and that introduced me to the world of DC and Justice League, and that got me into it. And since then, that's like, oh my God, that's dead on. And it's perfect. And also the story is actually really good. The White Martians coming down,
I like
bringing
that.
them together. And the Justice League, the end part, like, we should call ourselves the Justice League. I was like, oh, okay, that's a little campy, but
It's really funny, yeah.
It is nice. They got the Watchtower set up and everything. So that's just beautiful, beautiful movie.
That's a great number 3 pick as well. So we're moving on to the Don.
All right, so this one, obviously, you and I talked a while ago that we're going to do a specifically.
You mentioned X-Men animated series. We're going to be doing an episode based on that.
That'd
as
be
well, 'cause
awesome.
I have tons. And even if it's just you and me and KB doesn't want to take part in it,
we can go to town with that show.
Yeah, I can do a top 10 at that point.
But I'm going to go with an episode of Batman the Animated Series as my number 3. The name of this episode is I Almost Got Him. So episode picks up, you have Two-Face, you have the Penguin, you have Joker, you have Poison Ivy and Killer Croc sitting around a table playing poker, and they're all giving their stories about how they almost got the bat. Poison Ivy had this elaborate scheme where she's going to make these pumpkin bombs explode, and Batman's going to die from the poison of it. Obviously, Batman gets away. The the Penguin tells a story about how he brings Batman into this exotic bird house, and the birds are gonna kill Batman.
Hummingbirds, yeah.
Yep, the hummingbirds slow him down. Then the big ostrich-like bird claws Batman up, beats the heck out of Batman. Batman obviously gets away with his magical bat belt. You know, he's got some poisonous serum cure. Then they go to Killer Croc, and Killer Croc's like, I hit him in the head with a rock. And they all just kind of like ignore Killer Croc, and Two-Face says how he strapped Batman to this big coin and flipped the coin, and somehow Batman still got out even without his utility belt. Joker tells an amazing story about how he had Batman hooked up to like a laugh meter chair that would shock him, and he filled up the whole audience's room with laughing gas, blast the audience with laughing gas. Batman's getting electrocuted. Boom, Catwoman comes in, frees Batman. Her and Harley Quinn have a fight. Batman and Joker have a fight. Joker and Harley Quinn get away. And so then, you know, they're still sitting around. Oh, they have Catwoman kidnapped. That's what it is. They have
That's what
Catwoman
Joker
kidnapped.
says. This is one way, more than one way to get somebody.
Yes. Yeah. So Killer Croc's like, well, where do you got her? And kind of ends up giving it up. Come to find out, boom, Batman takes off the Killer Croc costume. It's Batman. And the funny part about it is they're like, well, now we all got you. And the whole place, the whole bar that they're playing cards in, Gordon and all, that's it. Yeah. They had him. So you almost had him, but you didn't.
And I love that. I love that line. He's like, "Oh, I threw a rock at him," and then everybody just looks at him for a second, and they start going to this. Well, it was a big rock.
It was a big rock. Yeah.
I remember that episode when you started talking about it. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what
that's
episode
one of
he's
my
talking
favorite
about.
episodes ever.
Because when I was a kid, I'm like, oh, this doesn't have enough Batman. He takes off the Killer Croc mask. I'm like, it's like an episode of Scooby Doo. I was so happy,
and I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you and those troubling kids.
It was so great. It's a good, very good pick. That's funny.
So I'll say that was in my consideration. If we were doing honorable mentions, that would have been in there.
I'm so glad I get to say it for you.
I am saying I am wearing a Harley Quinn shirt right now because all of my picks are from Batman the Animated Series because that is my favorite superhero animated show next to the 90s X-Men. So those are my two favorites. And I cheated already on the first one because the first one is my number 3 is a two-parter.
Oh, cool.
It's called Robin's Reckoning, parts 1 and 2. It's Robin's origin story. And the Batman animated series. Dick Grayson goes back to, so basically Batman and Robin stop this crime. One of the mobsters there, Batman Corners, mentions his boss is Billy Marin. It's a.k.a. Tony Zuko. And Zuko is the one that basically killed the Flying Graysons. He was the one that cut the wire. Ooh. So Batman tells Robin, you're not involved in this. Stay out of this. Robin starts resenting Batman once he finds out that it's an alias for Tony Zuko. And he basically says, I'm never following Batman again. We're done. And all this is going back and forth with flashbacks with Dick Grayson and then, you know, basically Gordon telling Bruce Wayne, who was in the audience, that, you know, he witnessed a crime. He basically witnessed Zuko here. He's going to become a target. So Bruce Wayne adopts him, eventually trains him to be Robin. Robin ends up tracking down Zuko, and he almost ends up killing him, and Batman tries to talk him down. And Robin is so mad. He's so emotional. He's yelling at Batman. He's like, you wouldn't know how it feels. You don't know what I've been through. And then Batman's like, yes, I do. And then Robin obviously recalls, like, yeah, Bruce, your parents were gunned down right in front of you. And he ends up, you know, relenting and arresting Zuko. And Batman told Robin, the reason I wanted to stay out was not because I was afraid. I didn't want you to get hurt. So it goes to show like that brotherly or even fatherly bond.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne adopts Dick Grayson. He's basically nourishing him into becoming a safer version of Batman, where a more well-rounded version of Batman. So I think that one's just super emotional. So that's my number 3 pick.
And it's a very good thing. They make a lot of nods to that, really, in I don't remember which one it was, but he wants. I think it's The Killing Joke, where he wants to protect Barbara because he knows how this world is. He's like, this world is dark, and you never go back once you reach the end. And it's like that with Robin. He doesn't want him to reach that point where he just resents everything and has to do this.
I don't think I've watched those 2 particular episodes. I watched a lot of the animated series, but I, for whatever reason, skimmed past that.
The next 2, my other 2, I think will be really, really good picks, and might jog some memories. But
you always pick such emotionally driven scenes.
Yeah, right?
You were so hooked on that.
I love character progression. That's my big thing. I love seeing character growth. When I was a young kid, Robin was my favorite character in the entire comic book universe. Way before, even probably before you were born, they had like the super powered figures where you like squeeze their legs and they do like a karate chop or punch. My mom, tells me this story where she almost got into a fight with this elderly old lady in a CVS because they had a Robin there, and she was getting that for me for Christmas, and there was the last one left, and she was getting in an argument with the woman to get
Before
that
Black
Robin.
Friday sales.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's great.
This is like circa 1986.
I was alive for
1987.
that, you know.
Well, yeah, but you were young. You were a young little Don.
I was.
But so yeah, that's my number 3. We're moving on to number 2. So let's go with your number 2.
I don't remember the name of the episode.
That's
which
okay.
I'm going
Give us a
for.
synopsis.
It's another emotionally driven one. It's from Teen Titans.
Okay,
Probably my favorite DC animated show. I'm not gonna lie.
wow.
And it was the episode where Slade Wilson has control of Robin, and he makes them fight the Titans. And it's very emotionally driven because I was talking about this with Sybil earlier, how the team against the team, and it was dividing them apart. He couldn't tell them, or else he would have obviously Slade would have killed them or whatever. And it was just they were wondering why is this happening? What's happening? And Starfire was very emotional. All of them were very emotional while they were fighting, and he just ends up running away, and they just sit there and ponder towards the end, just what's happening? Why is this happening? Why is he working for Slade now? They were enemies. What's going on? And everyone. It was just a big emotional heartbreak for me. And I remember when I was a kid, I was just why is Robin betraying the Titans? I was so upset. And it's a big mind control thing, and throughout the rest of the episodes following until he breaks free, it's just a lot of twists and turns, and it's really heart-wrenching throughout the whole thing.
That's actually a great pick, and just to kind of tack on to that, they're coming out with the Judas contract.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Oh my
that's
god!
in that universe of
Yeah.
DC animated world.
Yeah. So that's an upcoming thing. Check out the Judas contract. It's not the exact same thing, but it basically deals with a traitor inside the Teen Titans. So no spoilers in case you haven't read the story or don't know what's going on. But yeah, that's a great pick. How about you? Number 2.
Similar to how all your picks are Batman animated series picks, mine is all 3 of my picks are Justice League stories or movies, and my second one is going to have to be Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox, which I don't know why they're just called Flashpoint because that's what the story is.
It's really good.
But I love that movie to death. Whenever I'm bored and don't want to watch a new movie, I'll just watch Flashpoint. Or start watching it anyway because the story, you were talking about character progression. That one deals with time travel, alternate dimensions, stuff like that, and you can see him talk to himself at different versions and points in times and all this kinds of incredible stuff. And for the TV show Flash, they used it wisely. They didn't make it a Justice League story. I don't think they could have with all the rights.
They couldn't
and
use
stuff.
all the characters.
But they took elements of what it did to Barry because Barry is the focal point of that story. And that movie, first of all, it opens with all the Flash villains together in the museum, which is just, your mind is blown if you're any kind of fan of the Flash.
Yeah, very true.
And then you see the League stop the bombs. Superman just puts it in his hands. It just, that's it.
That was nothing, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I just, almost every part of that movie I would watch if it was on right now. Because that's how consistently
It's
good
a good
that
flick.
is. Yeah,
it's a
very
good.
good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great number 2. Moving on to Don.
Since I'm the KB today, in the fashion of KB, my number 2 and number 1 will have to go together.
Wow. So we'll wait then? Do you want to do?
Wait,
Do you want to do 2 and 1 at the end, or are you going to be doing? Do you want to do 2 and then wait for 1?
No, 2 and 1 and going all together.
Okay,
so
so
if you want to skip me,
Yeah, we'll put a linchpin on that one until we get back to number 1. So going on to my number 2, let me get.
The note.
This is the one that you guys will kind of recognize because you guys have watched, and I'll make mention of this, and this might sound familiar to you, but this is a Batman the Animated Series episode called "Perchance to Dream." So Batman is fighting crime, per usual. He gets ambushed, and he wakes up in bed as Bruce Wayne. He doesn't know how he got there. Things are weird when he wakes up. No Batcave below Wayne Manor. He's engaged to Selena Kyle. His parents are still alive. But then he starts reading the newspaper, and all the words are jumbled. All the letters, he can't make any sense out of it. But Batman is still around fighting crime while Bruce Wayne is there. He ends up meeting Batman at the top of a bell tower, and he realizes that Batman that he's seeing is actually the Mad Hatter. And the Mad Hatter has him in a dream state. And Bruce realizes he's in a dream state because that's why all the words were jumbled, because the dreaming is the left brain where reading is the right brain. So because his right brain couldn't access, he couldn't read the words. The Mad Hatter, he realizes, though, too, is it's not the actual Mad Hatter. It's almost like a program. So the being of the Mad Hatter isn't the Mad Hatter learning all of Batman's secrets.
yeah.
He just said, this is what I put in place, and it's the real deal can't see in, the real Mad Hatter can't see into the dream sequence. So to wake up, Bruce actually jumps off the bell tower, almost essentially committing suicide and destroying his perfect life. And it just kind of reminds me, and I made a note of this. It's similar to the 100th episode of Arrow, which is in the crossover where they get captured, and Oliver Queen is living this dream life where his parents are still alive and Laurel's still alive and this whole thing, and he's engaged to her and he's got this perfect life that he always wanted, and he gives it up because he knows that that's not what he has to do, and that's why Batman does what he has to do. He has to continue being Batman and destroy any chance he has of living a happy life. And to me, that's the quintessential. That's what Batman's all about.
Yeah, very
You know
true.
what I mean?
Wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, that's my number two.
Wow.
Two picks. So we're gonna go on to number one then.
I had one honorable mention before.
Oh,
and
go for it.
It was
Did
gonna
you-
be Justice League War because it's the funny one. It's not the best one by any
I
means.
did enjoy it though.
I love that movie
Yeah.
so much.
Now-
And I want to point out one scene of why it's one of my favorite ones, and it's the scene where they're trying to fight
Green Lantern.
fight Darkseid. And Green Lantern single-handedly wants to fight Darkseid. He goes, "Peep the light show. Green Lantern's got this." Darkseid, he goes up from under with a giant green fist. And Darkseid looks at him. He gets punched and then goes, "Push!" And the parademons punch him while he's on the ground. It's the funniest scene in any
you
Justice
see
League
like
film.
clips of that online taken out of context. Just a minute of that.
Oh, well,
him doing
I have that. I haven't watched that movie fully through
Oh,
because
it's so
I saw the bit where they were making Cyborg, and took me out of it. I'm like, how is this making Cyborg? This makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like as far as like this
Cyber
machine.
was pretty convoluted.
Yeah.
Like so that kind of took
And
me
you
out
want
of
to know
it.
what? The movie version is taken the exact same way.
Great.
So,
No, but Justice League War is one of my favorites, but I know it's not the best one.
Right, but for enjoyment factor, it doesn't
Oh,
have
it's
to be
so
the best.
funny.
But if
Oh
you
my
enjoy
God.
it, that's what's cool. So what's your number one though?
Another Justice League movie. It's Justice League Doom. The best one. It's the best one.
it's mine.
Your number one as
number
well?
one. All right, so why don't
Yeah.
you guys discuss this?
Yeah.
Then we'll get into the
You're
Don's
wrong,
2
I'm
and
right.
1.
It's the same movie.
You can talk about it. You can talk about it first.
Justice League Doom, where they steal the plans to defeat the Justice League, just in case. Batman has the plans to subdue the Justice League, just in
I've
case
seen
he
that,
needs
yeah.
them. It's beautiful. Every single... My throat's dry. You want to take over
Okay,
for a second?
tag him
I
in.
would
Tag him.
love
Go.
to. Are we doing our number? Okay, glorious. This is. I gotta adjust my chair. Sorry.
I just start coughing in the middle of
Justice League
explaining.
Doom. Let me just explain to you a little bit about Justice League Doom. You're right. Batman created contingency plans for the whole league to stop them in case one of them were ever go rogue. He'd have a plan set in place, and I love the idea that someone can take those plans and use it as an offensive. But at the end of the movie, the Justice League is debating whether they even want Batman on the team or not. And then as soon as Batman realizes that's what they're doing, he's saying, "You guys, if you guys can't accept that one of you guys could go rogue and attack the entire world with the power you have, I don't need to wait for a decision. I'm done with the Justice League." And he leaves. And he just walks out flat out. And that's just like, he's the one guy who could just die immediately by any of them just at any time. Flash
Instantly.
could just neck broken. You know what I mean? But like, he's got such cojones, if you will, to just be the alpha, well, aside from Superman maybe, but like one of the alphas there and like powerhouse the whole league, pay for everything, and still say, "Hey, this isn't right. This isn't how it's supposed to be. I'm leaving. I'm not part of this team."
Yeah.
And that's just
because they all have plans to subdue him by literally just killing him because he's a human.
also Mirror Master. I have a huge soft spot for Mirror Master.
Mirror Master is one of my favorite Flash
Yep.
villains. He's the guy who got into the Batcave by the rear view mirror of the Batmobile.
And I know
no
Vandal
less.
Savage is the real villain of that, but
Yeah.
like, come on, that's awesome.
It was so great.
The Legion of Doom was in it a little bit too, and Wonder Woman. It played on one of the reasons that I really, really enjoyed it is because it played on each one of their character traits.
Yep.
Wonder Woman is a great warrior and won't stop fighting, so to use that to kill her. And obviously the plans were turned lethal by the villains, but the plans were initially by Batman, which is really just
Yeah.
wow. You go that far.
And they used Star Sapphire use herself against Hal Jordan. In
well,
that
that was like a
movie.
big plot to like
Yeah.
with Scarecrow's fear gas, which is
Yep.
brilliant.
It was the fear gas, but he still loves Carol, and she is Star Sapphire at the point in time in Justice League Doom, and she uses herself against Hal in order to fear because he was always afraid of having her killed and
It's
losing
funny
her.
because in the movie Aquaman's not in it, I don't think, but there's when you go listen to the recordings, which is Batman. Kevin Conroy did this thing where like he did as Batman, like all the plans to stop the League. Aquaman, he did like Plastic Man too, all these different descriptions. Aquaman's plan was use Scarecrow's fear gas to make Aquaman afraid of water, and then he can't go in the water anymore. And he's basically powerless, which is
So great.
weird 'cause he's still strong. Whatever.
Take away the water, you take away his
Kingdom,
yeah.
Yeah.
all the fish,
basically.
everything.
The majority of his power. Then he's just a really strong dude.
Then Superman.
I'm
bucks
a
to
really
go beat him up.
strong buff guy who's kind of he can't get
Hey,
stabbed,
Supes.
I believe.
Get him there.
Aquaman's skin is tough enough to withstand like being
Bullets,
stabbed
yeah.
and being shot, and it's really great.
I want to see him and Wonder Woman fight in the movie.
I really do.
That'll be sick.
Yes, it will.
That'd be
Yeah.
sick.
That's our number one, apparently.
So
We can
yeah,
coordinate that.
so no, that's awesome though. See, that's quality content right there. You gotta just keep saying the name of your podcast
gotta
and
promote
normal
it everywhere.
discussion. Yeah, Don. So you didn't do your number 2 because 2 and 1 belong together. So
I'm excited for this one.
All right, so this was so incredible. It's a Justice League Unlimited thing.
Nice.
It's a 2-part episode, and the name of the episodes are the Once and Future thing. So, episode starts off. A guy named David Kronos is like physics professor. His wife pops in the garage and sees that he's got all these like little artifacts from throughout time, and she starts digging into them. Like, you figured out how to time travel, and you didn't use it for anything useful. And she's just telling him what a loser he is and how it'll never amount to nothing. So he jumps back in time or whatever, and it kind of pans over onto the space station where the Justice League are, and it's like, intruder alert, da-da-da-da-da. He's trying to steal Batman's belt, one of Batman's utility belts, because it's on his checklist of things that he wants that really wouldn't affect time. And Batman, Wonder Woman, and Green Arrow go after him. So the first jump that they make ends up back in the Old West. So, you know, like, these random little gunslingers come up to him, try to like run them for their for Wonder Woman's lasso, and doesn't work out. Wonder Woman doesn't. Batman and Green Lantern don't even have to do anything. Wonder Woman takes them all out. They take all their clothes, go into town to see if they can find Kronos. Where they end up finding is this Wild West bad guy with like future tech. It's not Kronos, it's another guy. So the guy with future tech ended up locking Kronos up, and they come across him, pull him out. They end up teaming up with Jonah Hex,
nice.
El Diablo, and the sheriff of, you know, this Wild West town to stop. This guy was like a nobody, basically. I don't want you to think he's in any comic books. He's just like the town like gunslinger bad
He's
guy.
a no name. He's just like a generic villain.
Generic villain. But what this generic villain did is get himself like dinosaurs, got himself robots. They all got futuristic weaponry, and like he kind of like runs this town. Obviously, a new superhero team. You know, Jonah Hex, Diablo, and Wonder Woman. All them. They end up taking him out. So now Kronos gets his suit back, and he's like, all right, I'm going to get us back to our regular time. Hits Batman, jumps in, sends him to the future. Now, this is where it really, really, like, picked up for me. I didn't know too much about Jonah Hex besides the movie. So, like, it was cool seeing him, you know. But, so now they chase him back through the portal. Now it jumps 50 years from present day into the future. So what do we get? We get Batman Beyond, Static X, and Green Lantern's son, who is Warhammer, which is Green Lantern and Hawkgirl's child. As soon as they get there, they're in like the fight with like the Batman Beyond villains. Kronos is like, this guy Kronos is like basically killed all the rest of the Justice League besides these 3 characters. Static Shock is like an old man with gray dreadlocks. So they stand off against this like new Joker squad from the future. Aren't able to beat them. Take off. They're like, all right, well, let's go back to the space station. Like, no, there's no space station. All right, well, let's go back to the Batcave. There's like, yeah, there's no Batcave. So they go to a rundown high school, and Batman's like, this is what we have left. And Bruce Wayne from Batman Beyond, old man Bruce Wayne, comes up and he's like, it's not much, but it's what we got. And Bruce Wayne gets the 2 Batmans get to like see each other and talk, and
I had the same aha moment when I wasn't the crossover that you're talking about, but it was classic Justice League animated crossing over with Batman Beyond, that episode.
Yeah.
And when Batman, before anyone said anything, old Bruce Wayne and Batman from the show walked and just face each other and just like eye each other up to examine each other, and like that split second was just like, oh.
It's what they call a fan service.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Some would argue too much of that in certain movies, but no.
So the wild thing that starts happening is because he's been tampering with time so much, Wonder Woman vanishes from existence. Maybe she never left the island. Maybe she was never born. Mm-hmm. So that comes into play. Green Lantern keeps shifting back and forth between Green Lantern characters. At one point, he's like,
Yeah.
hey, it's me, Hal Jordan. Don't worry, I've already been
I
brought up to
remember
speed
that.
on this.
That was the only point in that entire show where Hal Jordan was actually
Was
in
on it,
It
yeah.
was like,
That's awesome.
what, 20
and then
seconds?
and then he just boom morphed right back. The wife ends up turning on Kronos. She shows them where he is. Kronos tries to go back to the beginning of time, which the Lantern Corps says nobody can ever see the beginning of time because it will just ruin everything. They end up stopping him. Batman created this disc that destroys his suit basically, or makes his time belt not work anymore.
Makes it inert.
Inert.
Yes.
Episode was like those two episodes together were awesome. Like as soon as you said we were doing this, I was like, oh my god, I remember that Justice League episode that I watched, and I'm like, oh my god, it was 2 episodes in one. Great, and it was crazy. I can replay that whole episode in my head.
That's
it was crazy.
awesome. I remember bits and snippets of that episode. Like not the whole thing pieced together, but bits and snippets that were just fantastic.
And did you guys see the one where they turn them back into teenagers, like Superman, Batman? I wanted to give that an honorable mention, but I forgot about it.
That's such a stupid
that was
episode. It's
my
great.
2-in-1. It was good.
All right, now I love how the show always works out because you guys mentioned both instances with Batman running into Bruce Wayne at some point. My number one.
I know you're number one now.
Go for it.
Boy.
Good. Call it out.
Wait, is it? Oh, wait, you said it's Batman animated series?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind, because I'm thinking of the Batman Beyond episode where it flashes back to like the Killing Joke aspect.
No, this
Batman
is,
Beyond, ironically, is also my favorite Batman. His suit is great looking.
Yes, I agree. That is great. But mine from the 90s series, Batman the Animated Series. It's an episode called "Beware the Gray Ghost." Okay, this is okay. Okay, so let's put it this way: a crime occurs, per usual, in Gotham, where a giant explosion happens. Then it reminds Batman of a show that Bruce used to watch as a young child, a black and white TV show called The Gray Ghost. He finds the actor Simon Trent, who played the Gray Ghost. He was kind of like almost like a Zorro or
with a cowboy hat and everything too.
Yeah. So Trent is now unemployed because the show's been like 20, 30 years since the show's been popular. Yep. He has very little money, so he actually sells his memorabilia to a local toy collector, and he sells old props from the show. So he sells some. He ends up selling. I forget. It was like I don't know if it was a cape or whatnot. But later on, he goes back to his apartment, and all the stuff that he sold to this toy store is back in his apartment, and with a note. And it's Batman. Bruce Wayne ends up buying all the stuff and putting it back in because it was Bruce's childhood hero.
Yeah.
So later, he gets a note that to meet the Batman, he doesn't want to help Batman try to solve this crime that's related to the old TV show. Second explosion happens at Gotham National Bank, and he ends up changing his mind because Batman tells him, he ends up saying that, I used to watch you with my father. Gray Ghost was my hero. So he ends up donning the Gray Ghost costume and helping Batman solve the crime. They end up finding out that the toy collector that he's actually buying the props is using those same props to generate more interest in the show, which will earn him more money when he's selling the merchandise.
Oh,
so
man.
A couple cool things in this is that when they go to the Batcave, the Gray Ghost or Simon Trent kind of mentions that it looks a lot. This Batcave looks a lot like the Gray Ghost lair, and Batman had it modeled after that.
That's great.
So basically, once Simon Trent in this Gray Ghost costume helps put an end to the toy collector by the name of Ted Dimer, it kind of renews interest in the show. So the show gets picked up and released on home video. He gets a little bit more money, and now he can kind of support himself. And he's doing like these book signings, and Bruce Wayne walks up to him, and he goes, I used to watch the show with my father. The Gray Ghost was my hero, which is the same thing that Batman said.
Yeah.
So now in Simon Trent's mind, oh, this is Batman. Bruce Wayne is Batman. And he's like, oh, really? And then as Bruce walks away, he looks back and he goes, and he still is. And it's just like a cute little.
That's awesome.
Now, here's the fun fact. We want to talk about Batman. It's like meeting your hero, Bruce Wayne meeting Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm. The person who voiced Simon Trent, Adam West.
Yep.
Wow.
So the original Batman
gave the little nod.
Yeah. So I love that back and forth between the old meeting the new, the old Batman meeting the new Batman, still being a hero and influencing Bruce Wayne when he became the Batman persona to take certain pieces of that.
We're the old geeks.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We're the Gray Ghosts.
Oh, Adam West is our hero. Don't get us wrong.
Okay.
I love Adam West.
We're the Gray Ghosts compared to your Batmans.
Did you have an honorable mention? Every one of us said an honorable mention.
I didn't, jerk.
Well, what was your honorable mention?
Well,
Oh, no, so now you're putting him on the spot.
Yeah. But no, honorable mention. Did you want to say yours first?
I'll just say honorable mention. He came very close to making my list. Mad Love, which is basically the origin of Harley Quinn, which is just a another great episode of Batman the Animated Series, just about how the Joker was totally playing Harleen Quinzel the entire time. And just how he fractured her mind and she became like this villain. And I love it.
Another good one, Harley Quinn episode. Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy team up. Girls' Night Out, I think once name of it. And Joker goes nuts over it and keeps trying to like break that up or actually be part of it, I believe is what it is.
And just other quick honorable mentions, anything with the Riddler. I love the Riddler episodes of the Batman. He's my favorite villain. Let's see.
It's also his favorite Batman villain.
There you go. See, that's why we get along. And the Joker's Favor is another good one, which is where some schmuck, he gets all mad. I guess I don't know if the Joker rear ends him or if they get in a fight. Now he owes the Joker a favor, and he basically is a patsy to you, and it's so good. And there's another good one. If you haven't checked it out, check out the one, The Man Who Killed Batman. I believe it's called, and it's just like this guy. His name is Sid the Squid.
Yeah,
and he gets lucky, and they think he kills Batman because Batman doesn't show up anymore.
And doesn't everyone want to go after him?
Yeah, the Joker kidnaps him, puts him in a pine box, and pushes him into a vat of acid.
Yeah.
It's such a. I'm not going to give away. There's so many good episodes. So
wow.
The series still holds up today.
Absolutely.
But yeah, those are some honorable mentions. But if you want to, do you have anything?
Yeah. Well, I'm ending. I might as well put 2 honorable mentions on there because a couple that I really, really considered before I went with All Justice League for some reason was one of them was the Teen Titans episode where, actually it was more than just one episode. I think it was like a season-long arc of Terra and her entire story. But there was an episode in there where Beast Boy was trying to ask her out, and he did all these like weird things in front of the mirror, and then it turns out it pans like to the right, and she was just watching outside the window the whole time, and she's just like yes. Or something like that. And it was just really funny.
I also remember that.
I was dying laughing at like what 12 years old, something like that. I don't know. But as far as actual quality goes, Batman the Animated Series, because you've brought it up so much, it almost made my list. I actually told you in drive-thru once when I was serving you.
Yep.
That what was the name of the episode? But the Mr. Freeze episode of it.
Heart of Ice.
Heart of Ice. Thank you. Couldn't remember.
That was another one. That was going to be my honor. I could do I could do a top 10.
I was thinking like
we could
Cold
just-
as Ice.
I
No,
know.
that's like the Foreigner song. That's a different thing. But no, yeah, it's a very good episode. I love it. That. Really like. I know it wasn't that episode in particular that put Mr. Freeze back on the map, but like. Because comics have done it far in advance, but that set the tone for like the Arkham games and stuff like that.
It's such a great story because it made him more of a tragic figure.
Yeah, exactly.
No, definitely.
Yeah, it wasn't just like some weirdo with crazy hair who just ice gunned everything. He was like an actual scientist, and you understood why.
Right?
I hear he's on Gotham. I don't watch that show, but I hear he's on.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk off air about Gotham.
I'm sure we
don't
will.
but we're going into our final segment right now, called the Batcave, which is I was telling them it's just basically plug our stuff.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, go ahead and plug your shows. Anything where we can find you guys again.
Facebook.com/justqualitycontent.
Again, that's Facebook.com/JUSTQualityContent at JUSTQualityContent because we didn't get the right handle we wanted. Many thanks to Claypex for running our theme music on our shows. You can find it on Facebook or YouTube or SoundCloud or on their very own website at claypex.com.
Good luck spelling that, by the way.
It's a real chore.
Well, you can give that. We'll put all that stuff in the video later.
Exactly.
We can add that in the description.
And as far as shows, check out Witch Hero. Comes on every other Thursday. This is the Thursday that it's the every other of
Which
this
is
week.
great.
And we're recording it today because today is Thursday, and we've been really busy this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
So immediately after this, we're going to do which superhero would be the best John Wick. Which superhero would take the most John Wicks to kill them is our question and answer this week. And we're going to go through all of them. Also, check out Brian Blenold's. It's whenever we upload it kind of show. And so
That's my favorite kinds.
In college, doing boring things.
So just if I can give you guys some tips, we call that a sporadic.
Sporadic.
So just use the word
A
sporadic.
professional word.
Yeah,
It's a
just
sporadic show.
It's a whenever we decide to record that
that's
one
the-
kind of show.
And quality content should be every week. We take a week off if there's, I don't know, snow. But other
Last
than that,
week.
yeah. Other than that, it's every week.
and we
for
can
quality
find all of
content.
this on the Spreaker app. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Absolutely. And we also upload it to our Facebook page again, /justqualitycontent.
Promotions on our Facebook. And stuff
Just
like
quality content.
Yes.
On Facebook.
that. YouTube, we have a YouTube. We don't know what we're going to do with it yet. I have an
Fair
idea,
enough.
but I don't. We'd take the money. We don't have money. But
Cool.
yeah.
Well,
fun
thank you.
stuff.
Thank you guys for being in. Don, give them us our stuff too. You and I, let's
Okay, so we have For Your Geek Podcast on Facebook.
Yeah, so go to facebook.com, For Your Geek Podcast. KB is in Ireland.
He's
So-
in Ireland,
so
eating
every-
potatoes.
Yes. Well, again, I don't do those accents you heard at the top of the show. Yeah, so we basically every week, every Wednesday, new comic book day. KB usually does his favorite Marvel covers. I do my favorite DC comic covers.
Yep.
I took both this week because
I
KB's
noticed.
overseas. So He's across the pond, as I said. So yeah, check that
He's
out.
eating potatoes, not drinking tea.
Audience gone twice in a
Yeah,
row.
well, that's okay. That's fine. They're loyal. They stay with us.
Good.
Twitter, Instagram, Free Your Geek on both of those. I know you want to plug the Twitch stuff that you do too. Both of them.
Okay, so we here at Free Your Geek, we were getting Free Your Geek Gaming on Twitch coming soon. We need KB to be back in the States. My friend the Lumberjack, a.k.a. Elder Relic, a.k.a. Relic's Blood. We do Geek-gasmic Gaming. There's a Facebook page, Facebook group, Twitch page. It's not geek the way we spell geek.
It's threes.
It's
instead of E.
G33KGASMIC. I got it right that time, Cor.
Yeah, see?
And yeah, I mean, we do video game reviews. We did the DLC 2 to Resident Evil 7 yesterday, Tuesday. We're looking forward to Horizon, which is going to be coming out the 28th. We're going to be right on top of that. And that's Geek-gasmic.
Yeah, so that's about it. We did our social media stuff. We got a YouTube page as well, Free Your Geek. I'm just putting the old episodes up there now, so check us out on YouTube.
SoundCloud too, right? Or podcast.
Well, yeah.
Oh, what is it?
Well, the podcast is coming out. It's on iTunes. If you're watching the video, it's on iTunes. It's on Podbean, Free Your Geek podcast. So you can check that out. Other than that, I think it's time to get out of here. So KB usually does the catchphrase. I know you want to do it. Go ahead.
Start the weekend with your geek friends.
Oh.
And
Get your geek on.
Bye, folks.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.